Welcome back to another episode of Baby Daddies, the podcast that is reviewing For the Love of Dilfs Season 2. Once again, we have another cast member with us. We are joined by everybody's favorite sextagenarian, Big Sal. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey guys, good. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for coming, Sal.
Absolutely glad to be here.
Yeah, every week I say this. I think I'm not gonna do a lot. It's gonna be an easy episode, and then boom, they hit us with drama. They hit us with storylines. They hit us with everything, the eliminations of it all. So yeah, we got a lot of ground to cover. This episode starts out with the daddies chilling in the pool, talking about the elimination. What were some of your thoughts regarding Aaron's elimination last episode?
Me, Sal?
Yeah, you're the catalyst for it.
You know, I really like Aaron, and I love the fact that he was a figure skater, and he was so surprised to see that I was into figure skating. But honestly, I've had major crushes about figure skaters, and I love the whole art form and the athleticism of it. Honestly, Aaron and I don't think we clicked sexually. Like there was not a fire, there wasn't a spark, and honestly, I look kind of ridiculous standing next to him. I mean, you know what am I like? Barely 5'9", and Aaron's tall. So nice. I love his free spirit. I love his, he was talking about astrology and stuff, and there's so many things about him that I really like. But it was hard to eliminate somebody, and I think in all the episodes, it's the only one where a person has to pick a person to go home. A lot of the other ones are voting. I'm not sure. I don't know how they do the rest of them, but I had to stand there and pick him. And first of all, it was 4th of July night. It was like 1,000 degrees up there on that roof. Everybody, I'm sure Stormy had under boob sweat. Like it was just not fun. And everybody's like, Sal. And they wanted to know who I was going to pick because they had to put the camera on the person who they were going to send home. And I'm like, wait, you want me to tell you now? Like, I don't know. And it was almost up to the very last second. And, Aaron didn't like it. I don't imagine I would have liked it either.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough decision to make.
Plus, it was a very personal thing. I had to look him in the face and say, "No, I picked somebody else." And I don't care how strong of a person you are, what you've been through, or there's insecurities and I would have been the same way. Wait, you're picking some other guy over me? And there's Hazel, like, kind of got a lot of physical attributes that I like. I could have seen myself tossing him around the bedroom. Whereas I couldn't see myself doing that with Aaron, really.
Yeah.
And he also was one other thing that Aaron had said that I don't know if you guys caught on, but when we were having that picnic, he was like, "Yeah, I'm willing to learn some things, and I've always been more aggressive." And I was like, "Whoop." And there's a scene where I pushed the hot dog that was in front of me. I pushed the hot dog. I'm trying to get a super cut of that of me like whipping that hot dog, like no hot dog for me.
Those cold hot dogs.
Yeah, it was hilarious. They did show my hand like tossing. It was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean we touched a bit about that in previous episodes. How both you and Aaron both seemed very dominant, and that was kind of one of the things that I was like, well, I think they have a lot to talk about, and I think they definitely get along, but I don't know if there's that exact kind of spark there.
That whole dynamic where the Himbos chose us first, in my mind, was completely backwards.
Who would you have chosen first if the shoe was on the other foot?
Nick.
Yeah. That's what I said in our first episode. I think you and Nick would have made a really good first matchup, and then Aaron and Kane would have made a good matchup as well.
Yeah, and yes, I agree. And it was funny during the painting episode where we're painting Aaron. Nick and I had a conversation. I'm glad I didn't show it because I was basically trying to buy him a house in the Hollywood Hills and 2 French bulldogs and 2 Beamers in the driveway. Like that all got cut out, but. I would have done stupid things to hang around Nick more.
Yeah, you know what? You're not the only one with tits like those.
It's girl.
What was really cool though about their pairing, Nick and Kane. Kane is really into Asian guys, and Nick is half Filipino, and so Nick really piqued Kane's interest, like right from the very beginning. It was Kane really liked him. I had a crush on Kane.
Kane's adorable. I always wonder. I'm like, there should be some daddy on daddy pairings.
Yeah. Well, I asked the producers. I said, "What happens if 2 daddies want to get together?" And they're like, "Just make sure the camera's on."
Hey.
So the daddies are talking about the elimination. Kane wants to help the Himbos get through it. Dr. Ed said that he's not sheltering anybody. He said that's not what we're here for. Let people stumble, let people feel things. It's okay. And then he says something that I thought was really funny. He said, Daniel will be fine if I'm controlling because I'm attractive. That last relationship, he wasn't fine with it because he wasn't attracted to him, which I find crazy. What did you think, Sal, about Dr. Ed's whole controlling in a possessive situation?
I have two completely different thoughts on that. One is, don't ever lay that shit on me, right? But the other is, for the right person, the right relationship, it might really work. Like, there are people who are, there's someone for everyone. And what he was talking about, I think, came off a little bit over dramatized, maybe. But like, I could see what he was saying. If I'm going out, we're going to a party, I'm gonna tell you kind of, how I want to look, how we're gonna look together, and I may have bought you these things, and I may lie them on the bed for you. And if you choose to wear them, good. If you don't choose to wear them, well, maybe you can stay at home.
Yeah, I think every pot has a lid, and I think you're right. When he starts getting into the kind of like the nitty gritty of what he's talking about, I think it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But I think maybe the wording could be a little different.
No, I mean, on the surface, that comes off as really harsh to people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I could understand, like when he said that his dad has his mom's clothes laid on the bed, I can see how that can be really attractive to have someone who cares about how you guys look in public and cares about all those things. Those can all be really attractive things. But by the same token, I could see them by also being very annoying to somebody. Yeah. So it really is about the type of person that you are.
Yeah. I feel like too, there's also, in relationship, there are roles that people gravitate to. And with men and women, they're more natural. And with men and men, it's a figure it out, and I come from I'm a lot older, so I come from an era where we didn't have an app where you had all your check marks before, you pre-qualified anybody before you even went on a date. Sometimes you'd go on a date and not even know if the other guy was a top or bottom. Now it's just, order up the menu.
Yeah.
And so the submissive thing and dominance and submissiveness aren't necessarily, I didn't used to know that up front with people. You figured it out, but now it's sort of like people are more open about it. And if you know your role and that is your role, that's great. And if you go into a situation with that in mind, like, this is who I am and this is what I'm looking for. But if someone else tells you that, then I think it could be a problem.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about, the amount of legwork that they put in beforehand, I think.
Yeah.
So then the Himbos are talking about the elimination as well. We kind of get the other side of it. Keith says that Aaron shot himself in the foot. Nick says that he's there for more than love. He's there to compete, make connections, grow his brand, which, I mean, I think the way they frame it makes it sound like against Nick, but also that's what everyone is on the show for. You go on the show to get people to know who you are, to grow yourself as a person, as a brand, to make connections. So I don't think that's a bad thing by any means.
No, they really ganged up on Nick in terms of that.
Yeah, I think they did the West Hollywood thing.
Yeah, they were talking shit about how he wasn't really into Kane and, stuff. And it's like, wait a minute. First of all, he's known him for 3 days at this point. Secondly, what are you all here for? Everybody was there for, more than one reason. And except me, like, I don't know why I was there. But anyway, what happened? I think they ganged up on Nick and made a pact all together and joined together and made a strategy to get rid of the socialite thing. That irritated him. First of all, he's hot as fuck. I think he was the hottest himbo there, in my opinion. And so let's get rid of the hot guy. And also, it doesn't seem like his motives are altruistic or whatever. And then I think they picked me because I'm boring.
Oh, don't say that.
No. Look, I failed with two guys. Like, it wasn't happening for me. There was obviously going to be no drama with me, and I wasn't making good TV. Like, it wasn't real. There's a lot of juicy stuff coming up with the rest of the Himbos and Daddies that I just wasn't part of.
Listen, in the context outside of the context of reality TV, that's a positive. There's nothing wrong with not having no bullshit, not being, but in the context of reality TV, they need that, those juicy nuggets.
I've had plenty of drama in my life. I said in one of the one of the monologue, testimonies, I said I've made a lot of bad choices. I've already made my bad, not already made them all, but I made a lot of bad choices, a lot of bad decisions for a pretty boy.
Yeah.
Seriously. And at this point, I'm down there and I'm like, okay, well, this could be fun. Like, who knows? I could meet somebody super hot and it could just click. But then I'm also at the point where I'm not chasing something that is not giving me anything back. And also, I'm not going to jump in here and make a fool of myself at, 60. So
Exactly. Don't chase
That's
it.
valid.
No use in that. There's a couple other lines I liked here from Daniel. Anytime Daniel says, "Oh yeah, you like him, don't you?" In the confessional, he said it at least 3 times in this episode. Once to his brother. I think he said it this time to Keys. Every time he says it, I cackle. He also says they talk about walls coming down, both him and Nick. And I think what you said earlier about them, everyone ganged up on Nick a lot. But you're right. These are people for 3 days. If you already if you have like previous trauma, if you've got your walls up like that, it's a little harder for them to come down. Whereas, not everyone's going to be that forthcoming about, falling in love within 2 days.
Right.
Absolutely. Whenever Daniel was like, "You like him, don't you?" I literally wrote here in my notes, like the New York monologue, like, "I want my eggs cracked. I want my name dropped," meaning I want a child. Yeah. That's literally what I heard every time he spoke, and I couldn't get enough.
And then Nick talks about being burned before, and Daniel asks him, "Is this somebody that you could see yourself being with outside the house?" And Nick says, "He's someone I feel I can look up to," which is not a response to Daniel's question, which I think is a very smart way of letting everyone else know. I think he's really cool. I think I could learn a lot from him, but would I date him? Questionable.
So that started a whole dialogue with a lot of the Himbos, and that led to they were talking amongst themselves about, and I learned this later, that they were talking about how he didn't really like Kane and they didn't want him to hurt Kane and all this stuff. And Nick's not like that though. I've gotten to know him since then. He's really nice. Like he's a fun person and he's really cool and he's great to hang out with. And he knows a lot of people in LA, like in a very positive way. He's not like trashy, mean. He's not like that at all. He's cool. Yeah. But they were definitely picking up. They were picking up on those cues that you said. I didn't see it until Tuesday night when I saw the viewing party. When I heard him say that, I was like, "Oop."
Yeah, and that's when I started to get scared for him. At that point, I think I saw the gears turning in some of the other Himbos' heads.
So did you hear the part where Hazel was Stormy was showing Hazel pictures? It was the last episode, but I never knew this. He saw my picture and he's like, "Oh, looks like my stepdad," and not like oh, looks like my stepdad. It was like oh, yeah, it looks like my stepdad. I didn't know that until I saw it on TV.
Oh, I don't even remember that. I forget if we commented on that last episode.
Yeah. I remember seeing it, but in my head it was just like, oh, it looks like my stepdad. Like I just kind of passed it off as whatever. But I need to.
When is the person you're talking about? That kind of hurt. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I didn't run him down too hard.
Yeah.
So the infamous spelling bee of the Dilf Mansion. This was, I think, by far one of the best challenges that they've had in the show, season 1 and season 2 so far.
Yeah, it was cool.
I wrote here that Nick was second episode. I was like, okay, he doesn't know what a mortgage is, and then this episode, he's just like, what if they have me spell kitten? And I was like, baby, we got to find something. Like,
okay, but here's the thing. I think Nick is way smarter than he's letting on, because towards the end of the episode, he talks about how he grew a callus over him. He knows what a callus is. And he knows what it means in the metaphorical sense of growing really tough skin. But you're telling me he doesn't know how to spell kitten or know what a mortgage is? I think he's way smarter than he's letting on.
I might agree with you there.
Yeah.
So you're saying he's playing into the himbo persona for television?
I think so. I do not doubt. And also, working in gay nightlife, you have to be a little smart. You have to know how to talk to people. You don't have to get around people. You have to know how to sweeten people up. I think Nick is way smarter than he's letting on here.
And he has a really cool backstory too about, making a decision in his life, fleeing the small town he grew up in, heading out to LA to make make a life for himself. He's a strong person and he's been through a lot of shit. And I I think he might have a callus from, his environment that he's currently in to protect himself. But I also feel like he is pretty smart and definitely street smart. Like you just said, it takes a lot to navigate that world that he works in. And
it's tough. Also, I just think a lot of gay people in general grow tough skin.
Yeah.
We go through a lot of shit. A lot of people are against us. It is really easy for us to fall into that and to grow tough skin and to not let people in just to try to protect ourselves.
I got some hate today on social media and I posted, I've been doing fit checks every day and I have a lot of nice shit. And
I love the shoes you posted today. Those shoes are really nice.
Did you see the story about the shoes?
Yes, the Burberry ones. You go truffle hunting.
Yeah. No, those shoes are badass. And it's so funny though. I literally said to myself when I was packing, I was like, if I ever meet the motherfucker who designed, and there I was, I met him. But I got some hate today, and the guy was like, "Somebody come get your grandpa," and I was like, "Okay, I don't know who you are. I don't really care." But he spelled it Grampa. Okay, first of all, motherfucker, it's grandpa. Grampa, not grandpa.
Let him know.
Like, okay, so this is so still, I'm just being a nice person. I don't spread evil or bad vibes anywhere, and you still get it.
Yeah, people on the internet, a lot of keyboard warriors out here.
I guess
a whole lot, girl. That's why you just block them and move on. I just immediately block. I was like, I don't want to see it. I never want to see you again in my life.
Imario is a master at the block button.
Oh, yeah.
Do not get him started.
Okay.
We have had many talks about this. I prefer to mute people. He's big on blocking people. I have a question about this, the spelling bee.
Mm-hmm.
Were there more words than what we got, or was everybody that bad at spelling? We're like, everyone just kept getting them wrong.
Everybody basically got. That was the whole thing. It was excruciating to watch again because I thought that was really long. But yeah, I spelled my word wrong. If I had a piece of paper, I would have spelled it right. Or like I said, a typewriter. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yes, I wrote that on here about the typewriter.
Hey, listen, my first job in a high rise in downtown in New York, typewriters and cigarettes. We could smoke cigarettes in the office back then. That's how fucking old I am. Can you imagine that?
just a haze of cloud over the office.
And then the sound of typewriters. Like people ripping the paper.
I think that's kind of comforting though. The sound of a typewriter I find very just like that drone of it. I kind of enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
The best ASMR I've ever had. I really enjoyed the beginning of the spelling of the word effervescent. It was it was peak comedy to me. Just the EP and then Stormy's face is just like, what are you doing? Like, sir, please leave.
I thought it was funny because he's like, wait, I know this.
Yeah, he's like, I've heard this one before. I also really like how Nigel is frantically spelling it out on the desk with his fingers. I'm like, this boy is going to get a splinter.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Stormy's in the back, like, yes. Like,
we also had a little bit of shady editing. They you asked them to use it in a sentence.
I thought that was hilarious.
It was really funny, and but then they put that Dr. Dilf comment over it. You said this is true.
No, like I thought that was really funny because in a spelling bee, like that's
it's great. Did they actually give you a sentence, or they were like, we're gonna?
No, they were like, Sal, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no, just spell.
But those are the rules to a spelling bee. I'm with you on this one.
Yeah, you can ask for it in a sentence. That's like in every spelling bee movie ever.
Have you ever seen the Will and Grace episode where Jack is in a spelling bee in the gay bar?
No.
One of his first words was degenerous, and he goes, "Can you use it in a sentence, please?" And the guy running the spelling bee goes, "I like Ellen DeGeneres." So anytime somebody asked him to use a sentence, he would go, "I like daiquiris." It's fucking hilarious. I was really embarrassed that I didn't spell tantalizing. Yeah, I was so mortified. I was hoping they would cut the whole thing.
It's okay. Because some of the words up there, I was like, "Oh, baby, I spelled this in forever." I just type it out. But actually knowing okay, this, like the hand-eye coordination, no, I was with y'all. I miss some of the words.
I don't say tantalizing often. I don't use it in sentences very much.
Yeah, there's not much reason to. But also alchemy, I think is an easy word.
Alchemy was so.
I think alchemy is the easy word, but also I'm a big fantasy nerd. Maybe I just come across it. I've been coming across it for a while now. Maybe that's why. And then Stormy clocking 45 with her minuscule comment about Trump.
Yes.
That was a good one.
Well, I think everybody at the show's happy because today they said Trump's trial is going to go forward on March 25th. So this season will still be airing while everyone's Googling Stormy Daniels and Trump's penis.
Good. This will be great. Great for upticks on everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so Dr. Ed was another one who came up there, and then
PhD.
Derek.
Yeah, PhD.
Oh, Dr. PhD Ed.
The cough every time at PhD is so funny to me.
No, you have to. He walked in there, and I'm like, oh my god, here's another motherfucking gorgeous guy. Stop. And they said call him Dr. Ed, and then he says I have a master's in. So I went PhD. So then everybody, even the twins, called him PhD. No one called him doctor.
This totally makes sense for what comes later. Okay, now that you said that,
I get it now. I see.
Then Dr. PhD Ed walks up, and his word is Connecticut, and I love Daniel in the back. Like, he better get that right. Yeah. Like,
connect that
was so
girl.
funny.
I gotta say, those guys, the twins, are so much fun, and I really enjoy watching the edits. How I never got to experience their testimonials. So to me, all that content is really great and fun and funny, and it's really true how they both went to bat for their man. Like, it was like, he's mine, we're together, and we're a team, and we're gonna do this. And it was like 100% support, and it was cute. I liked it. I think that's kind of sexy, actually.
Yeah, the twins they're really with each other and with the people that they're with. Like the four of them really are a strong group, which I can see why, what happens later. It got really close there. But we got to keep moving. So Derek wins the spelling bee. Hazel comes pretty close, and he gets a cute little spelling bee trophy and a karate date.
Yes. So the karate date between Derek and Anthony. Derek comes out and he says, "I want to do a hi-ya to protect my man from Sensei." And I thought it was a really cute date. Would you ever do something like that, Sal? Like a little physical activity thing?
For sure. And I feel like that was missing a little bit. I was ready for some physical competition, like, the typical, like, company fair in the park after, like that picnic stuff, picnic games. I once went to, I had a boyfriend once who, he was a personal trainer. We went to their company picnic at the beach in San Diego. And I didn't want to go. I was like, I'm not going. He's like, you have to go. And I was all right. I was like in a mood in the car. I was just like such a bitch. And I'm like, I'm not playing games. I'm not. I'm too old for this shit. We won every fucking game. And then they bring out the hula hoops. And I'm like, I got this. So there's this woman, me and this woman left. Everyone else drops out. It's like 12 minutes, 15 minutes. And I'm just standing there hula hooping. And I was like, girl, you're going down. And I even won that. It was so obnoxious. I was actually hoping there'd be some of that in the house.
That's what I was using. You said you were short and scrappy. I wanted to see more of that. I wanted to see more physical competition stuff. I wanted to see you start giving it to him.
Oh, plus I'm a really good swimmer. There was nothing in the water. I don't know. I don't know. But
there was a dolphin in the water in the opening. What you mean?
That's CGI dolphin every time.
Definitely CGI.
I really like this karate date. I think every time we get a private date with an extra person to kind of lead things, I think it's really nice. I think karate is a smart thing to do because, karate is all about mind, body, and soul. So while it is a physical activity, there are things that you can learn in terms of improving your mind, improving your relationship skills, which Sensei David gets into. And I like that Derek said he can't push straight. He's gay.
Sensei could not take it. He was like, wait, we're just going to do the exercise. We're going to do it. He wanted to laugh.
Mm-hmm. So once you get to know Anthony, he's such a nice guy. And that watching him there was cool because he's physically active. His body's amazing. And he's also very strong and focused mentally. So to watch that was awesome. It was like 104 degrees out there on that. It was July. It was like July 5th in Florida. It was hot. Those poor guys.
Yeah.
But to watch Anthony, now that I've got to know him a lot better, is to see him do that. It was cool. That was a real representation of him in that scene.
Nice. I'm glad we got that because he's built like a boxer. Like he looks like he boxes. He mentioned Muay Thai, so I'm like, he looks like he knows how to fight. So this was nice seeing him kind of like in his element.
Yeah.
But Derek was throwing some hands. Derek had it in him.
Don't let the silk press fool you.
Exactly. And then after their date, Anthony confesses that he's falling a bit. Did you get that sense in the house? Did they look like they were that close, or was this kind of a surprise when you watched it?
Not a surprise at all.
No.
It's definitely happening. It was definitely, they were connecting. And there was a scene, I don't know if you saw in the bedroom. First of all, there was cameras in the bedrooms the whole time. And somehow him and Anthony were on the bed together. And they were very affectionate and sweet. And it was nice. I mean, it was nice to watch because it seemed real. It was cute.
Nice.
I think they show that in the montage, like going between scenes and everything. They show like them in each other's arms and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aww.
I didn't have anybody visit me, and it was a good thing because I was on a cot.
Oh no. Okay, see, Bobby from season 1 has talked to us about these beds as well.
He did.
And then Aaron mentioned it last episode. He was like, I was happy to go home because I could sleep in a real bed. I'm like, damn, the beds in this mansion are not up to par.
Listen, I don't want to sound like a douche right now, but I fly first class, and the sleeping on that cot was just not cool.
Up the beds in Dilf Mansion. Up the bed.
They said they spent all the insurance money on oil for the Himbos, so I was hoping we get some like oil wrestling. We were gonna get a physical activity, so no money for the beds, all on the oil or insurance.
So,
damn.
I guess.
In that big house, you had one room for the Himbos or one room for the Daddies.
That means less camera work, you know. If everyone was in 8 different rooms, then we need 8 different cameras. Last thing I had written here was Anthony says he wants to take it slow, but not too slow, which I thought was nice because this reminds me of me and my boyfriend. My boyfriend and I went to this last episode. We were like talking for a good 8 months before we made anything serious.
Oh, wow.
So I really appreciate him being like, listen, I'm a little older now. I've got a daughter. I don't want to fuck around no more. I just want to make sure this is real. And it might take me a little bit to get there, but I want to make sure we have that connection built, you know? So let's take this a little slow, which I appreciated him saying that.
He has a great story to tell, and it's his story. We've all been through stuff, relationship things, and what you're saying is true. You know, he has a daughter who's 24, I think, 23 or 24.
24, 23, yeah.
Yeah, so she's a woman, you know, so dad can't be acting like some crazy hoe, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he meant it. He meant like, I want to make sure, I'm just don't want to fuck around and I want to hurt people. And, that's nice. It's sweet.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We're looking to have him on in a future episode. We haven't locked down a date yet, but he reached out to us a little bit ago. So
all right, I'll talk to him next week when I see him, and I'll tell him to make sure he.
Thanks. So Nick and Kane are having a conversation. Nick's talking about making connections. Kane says that he's a one-track mind, which I think we can kind of see in these first 4 episodes. You could tell he's like really trying with Nick, but Nick has these walls up. He's a little he's got an emotional wall up, which we talked about already. Nick says he doesn't like doing PDA because he's been sexualized, which, listen, I'm a bartender. I can only imagine what it's like for a go-go boy or for a promoter or something like that, because behind the bar I get enough of it, and I understand that, so I can understand him not wanting to do all that PTA.
He's also been an underwear model for like 10 years for Andrew Christian, so his junk is out there, like, and people just, I think there are a lot of assumptions made when someone is a model, or like you're saying, a go-go boy or a bartender in a gay bar. I think there are a lot of assumptions that we make, like it's okay to touch you, or or try to hold you or possess you or whatever.
Yeah. Which I get a lot of people trying to touch me at the bar. Listen, all right, listeners, if you are at a gay bar, do not touch the people serving you. Treat them with respect. If you want to tip them, ask, like, because I work at a go-go bar, so I get people who want to like slip a couple dollars in my pants. Ask me beforehand. Don't try to do it when I'm walking by. It's a little rude. Just treat everyone who works at a bar with respect. It is, let's just put that there. Then we cut to Nigel and Rico. We get more cute stuff from them. Nigel's kind of feeling the pressure a little bit. He's feeling like they're a strong couple in the house, and that might make them a target. So he really just wanted to let Rico know that he's feeling him. It's been 5 years since someone's touched him like this. Talks about feeling that unconditional love. Which, when I heard unconditional love, I got a little scared because, listen, we're only 4 episodes in. I'm sure they have a connection, but this is still honeymoon phase, right? What are your thoughts about, like, were they really this lovey-dovey, like, all the time in this house?
Nigel was all in. And I didn't spend as much time with Rico, but I think he was too. And it was kind of like a pressure cooker. First of all, you don't sleep a lot. Secondly, there are scenarios that are happening that you kind of know about, you kind of don't know about. You're pushed in a certain direction, like, because you can't see a lot of stuff. You're in the room, so you're sleep deprived. All of your insecurities are like picked at. Yeah. Then also you're given an opportunity to express how you feel. So you don't have to be quiet about it. In fact, it's better if you talk about it. So it's like this pressure cooker of your own emotional and your own baggage and your own stuff, and then also encouraging you to be expressive about how you feel. So yeah, I think Nigel was, all in on all that, and I know he really did like Rico. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if they still hang out now, but I know that was definitely real.
Yeah, and not to mention liquor's flowing. Emotions are high.
There was not a lot of booze in that house.
Really?
No, I guess season 1 they had problems getting testimonials. So we couldn't even get a cocktail, a beer or wine. That was it until after we had done our testimonial. And they go after you film all day. The testimonials are at night, and it's late.
Damn. I'll be like, just give me a cocktail. I just need to give me something, right?
Just give me a little daiquiri.
Give me a little daiquiri, which I only know how to spell because if you think about it as daiquiri, it's real easy to spell.
Yeah, if you say it like that.
Then we get Keith and Jimmy. We finally get some Keith and Jimmy content. I feel like we haven't been getting too much of them, so I like that they're finally getting a storyline. Jimmy comes forward about a prior abusive relationship and how when he finally stood up for himself, he gets incarcerated, which is obviously a very, very hard story to hear. And I like that Jimmy, reassures him it doesn't have any effect on him. You've done your time. It's whatever. That he wouldn't do him like that as well. And I also appreciate here, Jimmy in a lot of his confessionals is kind of a little hunched over, but when he stands up straight, when those shoulders come down and that back comes a little straighter, I'm like, oh, I see it. I see what Keith sees now. When Jimmy really stands up like that, I get it.
Yeah, Jimmy's super cool. I really connected with him in the Daddies. In our room, it was weird. The Daddies really hit it off. The first group. It was, and then Ed came in and we're like, oh, okay, you're one of us. So it was great, and we had a lot of time to talk, and so we all told our backstories and shared our past relationships and our things that challenged us, and so it was cool. And I'm glad you said that about Jimmy because he didn't get a lot of time, I think, in the beginning, except when he said prime number
that's like it was like that and the laundry question was like what we got from him the most.
Yeah,
so I'm glad we finally got some stuff.
No, he's way cooler than that.
Yeah, I hope we get more going ahead.
I did right here just about Keith talking about being incarcerated. I wrote my notes. I was like, Keith, baby, it's okay. Like, who hasn't been fired? Who hasn't been to jail? Who hasn't had a RICO charge? Like, we've all been through it. It's okay. I had to fit that in there. As you said, the bondage workshop, I thought this was really cool. And as someone who has been tied up on video for the internet to see twice, I thought this would be a really cool thing to do, like, with your girls, like, hey, let's go get tied up a little bit. Like, ooh.
You know me, I got to bring up, let's talk about Stormy's look real quick.
Oh, absolutely.
She's in a fun dual kind of black and red number, little tulle skirt with a leather bustier moment, if you will. Yeah. She looked good. She always looks good.
Wait, did you see her with the spelling bee too?
Yeah, her spelling bee look was good too. I love the little glasses
and the schoolgirl with the stockings and the
she had like
outfits. No, that was hot. That was very.
It was so hot.
Whoever was styling her this episode was on fire. She had a lot of good looks. Even her elimination look was gorgeous too.
No, her crew and those people are so cool, and the looks and everything that was coming out. We had a good time with them. They were, they appreciated all of us too. And the makeup guy was really cool. Everybody, yeah, it was fun.
Nice. Yeah, Stormy always looks great.
Always.
One note that I had here before we continue was everyone else's look. You can kind of tell based on how everyone else is dressed who is like really with the shits in terms of bondage and the leather community, and who was like, I'll just throw this on, right? Did they provide y'all with those outfits, or was that stuff you brought with you?
We had to bring. So I had a different T-shirt on initially with a Tom of Finland, but I couldn't wear it because of Tom of Finland trademark.
Copyright stuff, yeah.
So I had a wife beater on, but I don't know if you noticed, I had a leather armband on my arm. And so, part of the old code was left or right, depending top or bottom.
Yep.
I didn't talk about this before, but I grew up in a time where you figured out people's sexual likes and dislikes by their hanky in their back pocket, the colors and the right or left side, which nipple was pierced. I mean, and they asked, you heard Hazel ask me if I was familiar with that. They didn't show Hazel in my date there.
It was really short, and I have that in my notes. That the date they gave you was really, really short, and then all we got was your testimonial where you're like, he's nice to talk to, but I'm not really feeling that spark. After that, they were like, okay, great, next date. I wanted to see a little more.
Y'all got like 32 words together, and that was it.
Yeah, did you count? It may not even have been that many, but in my scene with him, we selected who was going to get tied up. Everything was consensual, and so I tied him up, and it was really kind of hot because I grabbed him by his hair, and I pulled him down to the ground.
Ooh.
They didn't show it. I asked him first, of course, because it was being filmed, and so I thought that was kind of hot. I don't know how it looked on camera, but it was kind of a hot moment for me. I'm not sure it worked for Hazel, but I don't know. You have to really want that shit to be part of it.
Yeah.
We were robbed. I want to see it. Where's the footage?
Give us the unedited cut.
Let me check. I got a friend in there. Let me see.
Oh, Nigel. So he messaged us about this because I talked about the bondage party. He sent us a message that he listed like 30 kinks. And they also cut him down to like just putt play. I'm like, they are not giving us the BDSM content that I want to see. I want to hear everybody's experiences. I want to hear more about Anthony and the voyeurism, the exhibitionism. All.
I don't know if I ever really expressed for me personally, if I expressed that much stuff, but I was pretty into the leather scene, and I used to go to IML every year in Chicago, and
love IML.
Yeah, I was really into it, and I had some really fun experiences at those events and with the people. The leather community is really awesome and very tight and very supportive of one another. And at the same time, I was sober, so there was also a great amount of support in the sober leather community. So that's really cool. It was like a double whammy. Like you have people who have each other's back, and also have the same fetishes and the same kinks and everything. And I'll never forget one time I was at IML and this guy was like, "Can I polish your boots?" And I was like, "Yes."
Oh,
nice.
Yes, this is gonna work.
Nice. Listen, that's pretty tame for IML because I have seen some shit.
Well, that's where it started, but that's how we knew we were gonna get along.
Of course,
Will you be visiting IML this year?
Maybe.
Ooh.
Listen, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Wait, Imario, have you been to IML?
No, I've never been to IML. I've never owned like a leather harness. I've never owned like anything leather or anything.
Year.
So
we're going this year. It's gonna be good.
What's cool is there's so many there's so much more variety now in terms of harness looks and everything, and the whole I love what's happened to younger gays in terms of the clothes, and like everybody's like, I'm wearing whatever the fuck I want. If it's a skirt and a harness or a thong and a high boots, like whatever. I think that is such a turn on to me, that the freedom, and I also find it very sexy And I'm glad it's happened because it was all that shit was closeted before, or not quite closeted, but in a darker place and more private.
Yeah, it's nice to see people being a little more proud about it.
Agree. Yeah.
Okay, we're going group picture at IML 2024.
Okay.
With the dates, I wrote just like one sentence for each, except for Derek and Anthony. I thought it was so funny with Derek, like, I'm about to be a freak, and then just flipped over, hair flip, like already just, you want me like this or like this? Like, I just thought it was so funny.
And Sal, when I tell you, watching you try not to look at Anthony and Derek, you are sitting there, and I can see you were like talking to Hazel, but I just see you know what's happening over there.
Yeah.
They are getting it on.
First of all, I'm like, oh hell no. And then I'm like, wait, why am I not experiencing this?
Because they were going in on it. It was real fun. And then hearing Anthony talk about voyeurism and exhibitionism, which are technically both parts of this show, was really interesting, because it's all about, we're watching them on screen. He likes to watch other people, you know, and then when he started talking about Ed and Daniel, that, as taboo as it might seem, I thought that was kind of hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely pay for that footage. Like, Dr.
Dilf
was against it, but I'm like, listen, Dr. Dilf, whatever you got to say, I want to see. Like, we all want to watch.
Some other highlights I have written here. I said Hazel does not know that Sal's an OG Tom of Finland. that's what I had written for y'all's date.
You know, it's really funny because Hazel is super cute. Like, and you know, I knew who he was the minute he came in because, you know, I have my phone. So, you know, he's done studio work and OnlyFans and all that. And so I had seen a lot more of him than he's seen of me. I guess I felt like no one really asked me who I was. You know, no one was curious about my career or my accomplishments, or it was sort of like, that's the old guy. And not in a negative way, but just that's the old guy. And I wasn't an OnlyFans. I wasn't a, you know, like everybody you could categorize, like, you know, Nick was a West Hollywood socialite. Hazel is the OnlyFans cute, twinkish, whatever. And then Sal was the old guy. And it wasn't real interesting for some reason. And that kind of challenged me because I have a lot to talk about. Like, I've been through a lot of shit. I've done a lot of things. I've accomplished a lot. And I'm proud of it. You know, my life is full of mistakes and scars, and just like everybody else, but also really great things. And just like you said, Hazel didn't know. Yeah, OG, you know, talking about maybe literally old and gay, but or OG, I don't know. He's a nice guy. Like, I really think had we got a chance to spend more time together, we might have had some more fun.
And this, I've talked about this on my other podcasts a lot. I think a lot of younger gay people specifically feel weird when they're talking to gays that are older than them. But I think it's important to have conversations with gay people that are older than you. They have a lot to share. We don't have a lot of them anymore. Not a lot of them made it out past the 80s. So the people that we do have here, it's important to hear their stories. It's important to hear their knowledge. And it's important to keep it going. So, you know, if you're young gays, listen to that.
And you're a young gay, right? And so I really appreciate hearing you say that, because I broke down one night in one of my testimonials about that exact same thing. Like, when you used to go to the gym in the late 80s, early 90s, and you didn't see somebody, they could have been dead. That's how harsh life was back then. Not saying it means more or makes me more qualified to be whatever. It's just the way it was. It's just facts. The facts were, life was really fucking hard. And you got fired from jobs for being gay. You didn't get hired because you were gay. People discriminated against you. People threw shit at you and talked about you and beat the fuck out of you. And then your friends died because they had sex. It was a challenging time. And so sometimes it's a little frustrating to, you know, hear what goes on in the gay community now. And I don't know. I don't know if it's it's sometimes hurtful that exactly what you said is that, we're an older generation of people who went through a really lot of stuff to pave the way for young guys to be able to have boyfriends in high school. Not that I did it myself. There's a whole bunch of people. I mean, I didn't meet somebody till I went away to college. I didn't have all that. I saved it to my 20s to have my teenage girl drama. Because there's one inside of all of us.
Of course.
Oh,
and it comes out at some point or another, and the mess will happen.
That's why I can't stand Taylor Swift. She just says all that shit that's buried way down inside there. Those lyrics, it's like, girl, stop. You're gonna make me cry.
Oh,
she's gonna make us all cry. Okay, I've written here for Nick and Kane. Kane says that he's vanilla. We could tell in the outfit he's vanilla. He looks uncomfortable in his little thing. And I feel like if he's probably might have some kinks, but they were definitely not the kinks that they were showing today with the bondage and the leather. So whatever he's got might be a little something different. And then Jimmy is doming Keys. Jimmy looks like he's in his element here. And I wish we got to see a little more of their date as well.
Yeah.
Where did he get the paddle from?
Well,
I have
like
no
he pulled
idea.
a paddle out of nowhere. Just like,
so you know how you heard that smack on his ass when we were in that room? We all were like, "Whoa!"
Oh, that was not a soundboard. Oh, that was a real smack. Okay.
Yeah, I would see. That's why I wanted to see a little more. Yeah, maybe that's just me. Maybe I just wanted more kink content. Maybe that's just me. Let's go ahead to this voting. Sal, what were your feelings going into this voting?
Okay, so first of all, I walked down the hallway that morning and I walked by somebody and they wouldn't look me in the eye. So I knew right away. So I knew early that morning that they were conspiring. So I spent some time with Kane and he's like, but I don't know who planted the seed, but we're like, we got to break up the twins because that's 4 votes every time.
Yeah.
So I started a campaign to try to vote them out. And then Hazel and I talked and he was like, I don't think it's good, Sal. And because, he's with the Himbos and they were trying to conspire, it was like, so it was a little nerve wracking. And granted, I was a little out of my element in the house and this really wasn't my thing, and I didn't want to sleep in that room anymore, but I also didn't want to stand there and get voted by 10. I don't know how many people voted for me, but it was a little bit, every time somebody said my name. So we did manage, we did manage to get a few votes. Not for me and Nick, but it was kind of hard. Actually, it was weird.
Yeah, I had written here. I was wondering who started the Derek Ed votes because as much as I love the twins, the twins stayed, but that's the smart thing to do. Completely right. It is. And not just.
I was walking around the house. I was trying to say, let's break up the twins. First of all, secondly, if you really think I'm that weak, keep me to the end, and then you'll win for sure.
Well, this is just basic reality TV competition stuff. You know what I mean?
But everybody else was married already. They're all married. Like,
no.
Yeah, clock it.
Clock it.
I thought it was really smart, not just to do like Derek, because you could have gone and done Derek and Anthony. Instead, doing Derek and Dr. Ed really breaks up their whole dynamic, which I thought was really genius.
Right. That would have really screwed things up.
Yeah. And as we see, it almost worked. You came really close to it. It was pretty close. I was scared for a second.
Like 3 or 4 out of 7, I think. It was almost there.
It was there to the point where I wasn't sure if it was going to be Nick or Derek. All it could have taken were a couple more votes and it would have swung it the other way. It
was so funny when Keith when he's the only person who they showed what he said, because we all had to write something and put it in the box and say something to the camera. And then Keith is like, "Oh, it's time for you to go." I was like, "Oh, what did I do to you, girl?" I don't. He might have been talking about Nick, but
yeah, who knows? We're talking about somebody. Somebody got to know. And as they're reading out the votes, we get a look at the next Himbo and Daddy, who are stunning. Both of them are gorgeous.
Stunning.
We don't know much about them yet. We'll probably get to that next episode. But what did you think seeing them walk in?
No, that was like just one more, like just hit me with another hammer. It's like, okay, and they got 2 more beautiful young guys. Like, okay, fuck you very much, Sal.
Oh no.
Wait, did you see my exit move though?
Yes, I thought that was genius.
Yes, we did.
Do you guys know where that's from?
It's very Italian. I know that much.
This is Italian, but this with the finger. Okay, so in Sopranos, Carmela and her friend Ro are at lunch one day, all glammed out with their furs and everything. They're having lunch in this restaurant, and people are talking about the Sopranos, and Carmela's like, they're talking about me. And Ro turns and looks and goes, eat your money, God. And I just love the way she says that. And it kind of symbolizes it like encapsulates my entire life of mind your own fucking business. You know what I mean?
This is where I'll come out. I am the worst New Jerseyan ever. I have not seen The Sopranos. I've been putting it off all my life. I know. I'm sorry to say. I apologize to you, and I apologize to everyone in the state of New Jersey and the tri-state area.
It's on HBO.
I am sorry. It is on HBO, which I have. I should have really watched this. I liked your closing statement was very nice, succinct. Stormy's face during Nick's closing statement, she was not sure if it was going to have another Aaron situation because he said living with 6 loud, obnoxious bitches, and Stormy's face is like,
Yes, she was.
And then he goes, but they're fantastic and they're great. They're my family, etc., etc. So I thought that was really funny.
It could have gone. It could have gone south.
It could have really quickly. Yeah.
Hey, listen. For me, I was most afraid of becoming a meme. Like on my way there, my therapist said to me, "Wait, Sal, you want to go be objectified on television?" So I had him in the back of my mind the entire time, thinking, "Is he smarter than me? Like, does he really know? Like, am I setting myself up for disaster?" So, I just didn't want to be that flaming, go out flaming in flames.
Which you actually went out, and I think very, very elegantly. I like that when you left, you shot out the crew, which I think a lot of people on reality TV don't do. Shout out the people who make the show possible. So I enjoyed that you did that.
I got to tell you, those guys, first of all, that is complete chaos filming reality television. It is a logistical nightmare. They have it down to a T, and they have a therapist on staff. They have other people who are nice and been through a lot. And so they, even though they're like corralling us to get us into the room and locking us in there, they're nice about it. You know what I mean? And they're telling us the whole time what's going on, what to expect. It was great. There was not one negative. There was nobody yelling. There was it was so smooth. And so, I mean, little bumps along the road here and there, but those guys were so nice. Topher and Artie and Andrew, everybody was great. Even Stormy and her husband. First of all, Stormy's husband, their relationship, I mean, they are so sweet together. He is such a nice man. Only knowing her from the news, it was so heartwarming to meet her husband and to see them together. It was really sweet. Like, I don't know. He's a cool guy. Everybody. Yeah. The whole thing was great.
They looked really cute in that episode where he came out. That was really sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was real. That was like live. Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Sal, so much for joining us. You want to let the people know where they can follow you and see some lovely fit checks and great recipes, by the way.
I'm gonna go. I'm making tonight. I'm making Manhattan clam chowder, so I'm gonna do that right now. But it's at Big Sal TV on TikTok and Instagram.
Nice. I'll have to follow the TikTok. I only follow on Instagram. I'll have to change that. Yeah, go check out the fit checks.
I pretty much post the same thing everywhere, but yeah.
You always gotta follow for the engagement.
Efficient.
Yeah, gotta the recipes always look good. The fits always look good. So
thank you.
Great job.
It was fun doing it. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Imario. Let the girls know where the booty does the origami.
The booty be doing origami all over Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, Facebook. I'm up to pay T.S. Madison for saying that. But you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Booty Origami.
My name is Jake. You can find me at Poison Touch Pod, where you can see me on my other podcast, Poison Touch Advice Hour, where Gay and his friends give you all the best and worst advice to deal with all of life's predicaments. You can also catch me at Croak Hunk for all my personal stuff. And we will catch you next week with 2 new people in the house and recapping another episode of For the Love of Dilfs Season 2. Catch y'all later.